I'm live in the kitchen. Audrey Valentine and shit.
What's up? Hey, how you doing?
Start off by telling people who you are and what you do.
So, I'm Audrey Valentine. I'm a singer, songwriter, vocal producer, and I'm a musician. I love to sing.
Alright, so I heard vocal producer. I've never heard that before. What is a vocal producer?
Vocal producer, the best way I can explain that is basically all the harmonies and the background vocals that you hear on a record. Not everyone knows how to combine and put those together. So a vocal producer is someone that you can book for your session to come in and do all of those for you, to tell you what kind of riffs and runs you should do, what kind of background harmonies you should do. So that's a vocal producer.
Okay, how did you start getting into, well, first of all, how did you start singing?
I've been singing my whole life. Literally my whole life. I don't recall a time when I wasn't able to sing. So my parents, once they noticed I had a talent, they invested in me very, very young. I started, doing like singing lessons from the time I was 4 maybe. And then I started writing when I was 12. So yeah, I always knew I wanted to sing. When I started writing, I knew I wanted to write too. So it was always like that inkling, like this is what I was supposed to be doing.
So, and this like being your thing, what's your creative process like? Well, first of all, what's the most difficult part of your creative process? Like, some people, they hold themselves back because it got to be like perfect, or like, what's the difficult part about your creative process?
Yeah, I'm very critical of myself. So, at least when it comes to writing, like, I have to be in the mood. I can't force myself to write, because when I force myself to write, I never feel like it comes out the way it's supposed to. So, sometimes it's like super random. I could be in the car on my way somewhere and then I gotta pull over because I'm playing the track and I gotta write that shit like right now. Can I curse?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta write that shit like right now. Or, I could be at work. A lot of times I'm at work not working. No, usually like I just start playing beats or whatever and I just start writing. It has to be free form. It can't be forced. And then yeah, in the studio, sometimes my producers make the beats in the studio with me. Sometimes they pre-make them, before we link, and then I write it and then come to the studio and just knock the record out. Okay. So when it comes to like, I want to say how you, I kind of ask this sometimes about like how you move through the music business. Mm-hmm.
Like, so like what's your process, with all the politics and everything? Like, how do you move through it and keep going?
That has been like a daily learning lesson for me because it's been a little difficult. One, I'm a woman, so I just feel like people in general love to play games when it comes to business, and I do not play when it comes to my business. I take this very seriously. I take the music very seriously, and so I'm extremely professional. And when I feel like people are not, reciprocating my professionalism, it pisses me off. So a lot of like advice from family members, relatives. My dad has owned his own business for over 40 years, and so I really come to him a lot when I have questions about just how to work and navigate in the business in general. This has been like my first year really growing as a businesswoman, and so me not having like a team exactly, like not a set manager or a set PR person, I'm doing a lot of this shit by myself. So it's definitely like it's a learning lesson. I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate, but it's been working so far. I've been doing it.
So how did you come in contact with Diverse University?
Well, it all started with Joel. I met Joel at an event that Merk, who's like a mentor and big brother to me, he was having an event back in March. And my friend Hits introduced me to Joel, like, yeah, y'all need to link or whatever. Joel needed a singer for a record called Are You Down, which is on his new album, Tsunami. And he had me come to the studio and do it, and the song came out so dope. I'm like, wow, this song is like amazing. And he, like, just him being so genuine and cool, and like our personalities meshed. So naturally, I met Breeze and Rich from there. And same thing, like instant off bat, like our personalities all just flow so well. Then I met later on Hayes, and we got cool. We started working. Same thing, like personalities just so dope, and they all mesh. Same thing with Weasel. I just feel like they all have these genuine, beautiful personalities. They're just really good people, you know what I'm saying? And they fucked with me wholeheartedly, and they started supporting me genuinely. So I just got real close to them and cool with them, and now they're like my family.
So we was talking before we got on camera about, you know what I'm saying, being genuine and whatnot. Like, talk about the contrast between the politics and the genuine movement in the Chicago industry.
Well, I feel like a lot of people are super thirsty to be in a certain place and position within this music industry, within like the culture here in Chicago, that they just want to be cool with whoever they feel is popping, period. And I feel like no matter what position you play, whether it's the artist, whether you're in media, like your role is so important that you should want to be genuine. Like in Atlanta, like they fuck with each other for real. You know what I'm saying? They're genuinely, wholeheartedly trying to pull each other up. Whereas here, I feel like you gotta be like a person of a certain caliber to have people like knocking at your door. You know what I'm saying? And it shouldn't even be that way. It should be like, wow, you're dope. I fuck with you for real. Like, that's how I felt about what we were talking about with Diversity University. That's how I felt like they fucked with me wholeheartedly. Not these other people that just want to fuck with you and associate themselves with you to be in a certain place of power, to feel like they have a certain power in this industry. And that's the problem with Chicago. I just feel like that has to change overall.
So what's the culture missing?
I guess love. Like, I hate to sound corny, but I just feel like people don't genuinely love one another here. And I get it. I mean, it's Chicago. It's a tough city, but we don't have to be so negative to each other. We don't have to be like rude to each other. Like, just fuck with one another. Even if you really don't fuck with them for real, at least act like you really truly fuck with them and want to see them win. Because people will see that. People from these other cities, they view us and they looking at Chicago like, wow, they doing each other dirty, they doing each other petty, they finessing one another. You know what I'm saying? That's not the kind of vibe or the kind of look that we should want as a city. We should want people to see us loving on each other. You know what I mean? So I think we missing just a lot of genuine love.
Okay, so getting into the last project you dropped, Forbidden Fruit, right?
Yeah.
That was tight. That was tight. So about that.
Okay.
What inspired, first of all, the name?
Forbidden Fruit. Good question. So it's funny because I feel like me being in and out of like a few really negative relationships, when you in those relationships and you do like the reflecting period, it all starts back to the beginning where it's like you probably knew you wasn't supposed to be fucking with that person, but you still went ahead and fucked with that person because that's just what you wanted to do. So I took it and kind of tied it into the biblical aspect of like with Adam and Eve, when they were in the Garden of Eden, they knew not to touch the forbidden fruit tree. And yet Eve, you know, just gave into temptation and was like, screw it, I'm going to go ahead and take these apples over here because that's just what she wanted to do. And I just think because of that, that's how all of us as human beings act. Like we always act on emotion. Like we know that we shouldn't always indulge in certain things, yet we still choose to indulge. So that's what the whole title of Forbidden Fruit was about. Okay,
so talk about like some of the features on there and like how you came to put some of them tracks on that project.
Sure. So start with the first song, Fantasy. Fantasy features Geronimo and the boy Illinois. Geronimo, I met him through a mutual friend, and he's another super talented singer and writer. He does a lot of work with Bianca Shaw, and he's very dope. With Boy Illinois, I've obviously been in tune with him for a while, but I met him for the first time this year when I went to South by Southwest, and I was at Valet's Good Music Mansion Party, and I saw Boy Illinois, you know, standing by himself. I'm like, I'm finna go talk to him about this record or whatever, because I knew I had a song I wanted him to get on. So that's how that happened. We got back to the city and he did Fantasy, and it came out really dope. Who else I got on there? Oh, Joel. I knew for my single Rider that I had already dropped and did a visual for. I knew I wanted to make it a remix, and I feel like his flow was so smooth that I just feel like he would have been perfect for the Rider remix. So I got him on the Rider remix. With Z Money, I'm a rat in my past life. I'm from 79th Street. So I just knew I wanted to have like a trap song, a trap record to give out my, you know, my inner hood rat. And I'm like, I need a hood nigga to get on this record. Let me see if Z will fuck with it. You know what I mean? So that happened. And I got Z on the record for the Forbidden Fruit, which is the title track. And do I have anybody else on the... EP, I can't even think right now. I think it might. If I'm forgetting somebody, my bad. I can't think right now. I think that might be it.
Okay, so what's next for Audrey Valentine?
I'm supposed to be working on a new EP, but I was telling you I've been sick for the last few weeks, and I'm trying to get my voice back to its normal health before I get back in the studio. I had already started working on some new music though, so I'm definitely working on new music. What's coming up next for me currently is the Audrey Valentine Experience. Now, what is that? It's basically me headlining my own concert and showcase, and it's a benefit concert and a winter coat drive for youth homelessness. So all the ticket sales and all the coats that we receive will be donated to a homeless shelter in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood. Also, performances by pretty much all my friends: Yana Cello, Evie, Kenny Thompson, Joel Q, Weasel Sims, Jay Hayes, Kid Breeze, Richie West, gang, the whole gang. So they'll all be in attendance, and it's gonna be really dope. It's basically a birthday concert too, because my birthday is the next day. So we're doing this to bring in my birthday this year. And I just want to do a lot more about giving back. I'm about to launch my first and only community service campaign titled Harmonize for Harmony. And so I'll be doing a lot of different community service projects through that. And this would kind of be like our first event. So that's what's next for me. Other than that, just working, performing as soon as I get this voice back normal.
What's the end goal?
I mean, I always just, it's hard to answer that question, but because my goals always change, I guess, but I just want to be at the top of my game, period. Like, I want to be a leader for my community. I want to continue to put out really dope music and represent Chicago and R&B in a positive light, because I feel like R&B never gets enough praise in this city. It's just always about hip-hop rap. No, it's more than just rappers here in the city of Chicago. We need to give some of our singers the praise that they deserve as well. And so I'm just trying to make sure that R&B is receiving the attention that they deserve.
Word. Okay, and if you could go back to younger Audrey and give her some advice leading into this game, what would it be?
This question is so funny. To just like keep working and don't lose faith, because I know, like, even last year I was starting to kind of give up, and I felt like maybe I should just conform and continue to do the 9-to-5 thing, because it just wasn't working out. But then when I switched up my work ethic and I started working harder and becoming more consistent, everything changed. So definitely I would just tell younger Audrey just to be consistent and to just not lose faith, because obviously the best is yet to come.
Bet.